Welcome back. In front of us, we have a problem and it asks us to simplify m plus 1 divided by m minus 1 minus m minus 1 divided by m plus 1 plus 4 divided by m squared minus 1. So to simplify this, we first have to understand some important concepts in mathematics. Before I go into this question, I would just want to bring up something to facilitate our understanding. Then after, I will solve the problem. If I have an expression a squared minus b squared, here you have a squared and there is a minus sign here, then you have b squared. Whenever we have something like this, we call it difference of two squares. And if we should express this in another way, this is equal to a minus b into a plus b. This is how you simplify difference of two squared. So if I have c squared minus d squared, this will be c minus d into c plus d, right? If I have something like m squared minus 1, we can also say that this is m squared minus 1 squared, right? Because 1 squared is 1. So which means this can also be expressed as m minus 1 into m plus 1. Do we agree with that? So if that is understood, we can be able to move on to solve this problem. So let's continue. All right. It is our choice. If we want, we can first simplify this part. Then we can add this along the way. If we want, we can just solve everything for once, which is the method I want to use. It doesn't matter. Solution. So if I have m plus 1 over m minus 1 minus m minus 1 over m plus 1 plus 4 divided by m squared minus 1, we've said that we can express this as m plus 1 divided by m minus 1 minus m minus 1 all over m plus 1 plus 4 all over. So we've said that this can be seen as difference of two squares. So if we should apply that, we will have m minus 1 into m plus 1. So even if you expand this, you'll be able to have this again. All right? If we have something like this, we can use the LCM, okay? Like if we are just solving for normal fractions. Here, the LCM would be given by what we have here. So if you have m minus 1, m plus 1, and this is also having m minus 1, m plus 1, which means we're going to use this. If at all is only this and this, it will be the product of this, right? M minus 1, m plus 1. Okay? So let's try to use m minus 1, m plus 1 as the LCM, okay? Because we have that one also here. Now, to rewrite this, we'll have m plus 1, m minus 1 minus m minus 1 all over m plus 1 plus 4 all over m minus 1 into m plus 1. So to find the LCM of that, we've said we're going to use m minus 1, m plus 1. Okay, so how do we go by this? This m minus 1 will cancel this m minus 1. So we'll be left with m plus 1 here. Then we have to multiply that one with what we have here as the numerator. So it means for this side, we're going to have m plus 1 multiplied by m plus 1. Okay? Then this minus here. So if we are considering here, this m plus 1 into this m plus 1, it will cancel out. So what are we left with? M minus 1. So we'll use this m minus 1 and multiply it by the numerator. Okay, but since we are dealing with negative, be careful. So I'm going to say m minus 1 into m minus 1. All right? Because this negative is going to affect everything. So that is why it is important to express it this way. Then moving on, this positive sign, I'm going to bring it here. Now for this part, m minus 1, m plus 1, if it enters here, it will cancel out. So what are we going to be left with? It is just 1. So that is 1 times 4 is 4. Moving on, the way we can expand this is first taking this m in the first bracket, multiply by everything in the second bracket, then take this 1, multiply by everything in the second bracket. That is how expansion is done. Okay? The same thing applies here. If I'm going to multiply or expand this expression here, I will take m here, multiply by everything in the second bracket, then take negative 1, again multiply by everything in the second bracket. So for this part, I will have this m here in the first bracket, multiply by everything in the second bracket here, m plus 1. Then I'll take this plus 1, multiply by everything in the second bracket again. So if you do that, it means you have multiplied everything. So that will be plus 1 into m plus 1. Then minus. Coming to this part again, I will take this m, multiply by everything in the second bracket, then this negative 1, multiply by everything in the second bracket. But because we have a negative outside here, we have to be very careful, okay? So that is why I am maintaining this bracket here, okay? So I have m here, multiplied by the second bracket, m into m minus 1. Then I have this minus 1 to be multiplied by the second bracket again. So that is minus 1 into m minus 1. Then plus 4 all over m minus 1 into m plus 1. Okay, so m times m is m squared plus m times 1 is m. Then plus 1 times m is plus m. Then 1 times 1 is 1. So that will be positive 1. Minus m times m is m squared again. M times negative 1 is negative m. Negative 1 times m is negative m. Negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. Then plus 4 all over m minus 1, m plus 1. So I'm going to have m squared. M plus m is 2m. So that will be plus 2m plus 1 minus m squared minus m is minus 2m. Then plus 1 plus 4 all over m minus 1, m plus 1. So this is going to be m squared plus 2m plus 1 Now, this negative is going to affect everything that is in this bracket. Okay? So if we expand, we're going to have negative times m squared will be negative m squared. Negative times negative 2m will be positive 2m. Negative times positive 1 will be negative 1. Then we have to include this plus 4 all over m minus 1 into m plus 1. So what do we have? M squared minus m squared will cancel out. Okay? M squared will cancel negative m squared, and therefore we're going to have 2m plus 2m will be 4m. Again, plus 1 minus 1 will cancel out. Okay? Plus 1 will cancel minus 1. So what are we left with? Plus 4. Okay? All over m minus 1 into m plus 1. Now what can we do with this? On the numerator, 4 is common. So if we factorize 4 out, we'll have 4 into m plus 1. That's the factorized form of that. Because 4 times m will be 4m. 4 times 1 will be 4. All over m minus 1 into m plus 1. So what can we do with this? Here, the m plus 1 will cancel this m plus 1. So finally, we're going to have 4 all over m minus 1 as our answer. Okay? Thank you very much. Please do not forget to like, subscribe, and share the video.